So here's where I am on this thing. I've gone and I've sanded the roof. I've added these vent details on it. I made these little gutters that are going to go above the doors. So this above the baggage door and this above the vestibule door. I used bits of wire to make these. The instructions said to use bits of cardboard. Don't think I could get a piece of cardboard that would be small enough to fit. I originally started painting it, brush painting it with some flat black paint. I wasn't liking the way that was coming out, so I went and I sanded that off. And I'm going to go ahead and spray it now with the old Ace Premium flat enamel. See how that looks. Hopefully it'll look great. And I will be back to show you the results. So I got the roof on this thing painted and finished, and so far I am quite happy with the way that it came out. You can see the gutters I put over the doors, and I've also added the steps onto the ends. I beveled the bottom piece here to put the steps on. Added some details on the bottom, including the brake parts. And these steam traps is what they called, which are some brad nails that came with the kit. The ends stick up through the floor, but that's not a big deal. I'm not going to put an interior or anything in this car. But the one thing that I wanted to do is, this is a battery box, and I guess this is a water tank. Battery box doesn't have very much detail to it, but if you look at this Athearn car, you'll see that there's doors on these battery boxes and some hinges. I'm going to at least put a little bit of detail on it with some doors. And also I noticed that the water tank doesn't have anything to actually hold it to the floor. It's just kind of floating there. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this piece of illustration board and basically cut a couple of rectangles to simulate two doors on this battery box. I measured it. It's 25 millimeters by, it looks like about 6 millimeters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and, if I can find a pencil here, I'm going to come and probably make two doors, probably 10 millimeters by 5 millimeters, two rectangles to glue onto here, and then I'm going to make some straps to kind of hold that. So using a sharp pencil, I'm basically going to cut a strip. Let's see here. A little more magnification on that. So I'm going to cut a strip that is, so I'll mark it, cut a strip 5 millimeters wide, which will form the doors. I use an X-Acto blade to cut this as opposed to scissors. Scissors are kind of convenient. They produce a nice cut, but if you want a really straight line, no little waviness to it, then you go and get yourself a straight edge and a sharp blade. So I'm going to fit this over there. Oh, that's about the perfect width, I think. Yeah, that'll be perfect. So I'm going to cut two doors. And I could do one big one, but I think if I look at the Athearn one, I guess it is one big door. Let's see. This is a roundhouse. Ferryman car has got 2 doors, and I think I want it to look more like this car. So let's see. I'm going to do 1 centimeter, 10 millimeters, if you remember your metric system. So 2 identical doors here. Once I glue these on, I'll figure out if a hinge is something that I could kind of mock up. Again, this kit is not something that's going to produce a high fidelity model. So my goal is to make it look like I'm some guy who just did a good job building a kit back in the 1940, 50 time frame. I think the instruction sheet says 1941. So there's a text on it signed by Gordon Varney himself. Wrote it. And it says 1941 is the date. So I'm going to use just a little bit of this carpenter's glue. Kind of glue all I think this will be fine for this. It shrinks a little bit as it dries. Ah, shoot. I just want to rub it off. But I don't want it to be globbed up either. So there's one. And what I'm talking about, a globbing up. Put a little bit too much glue. I want to make sure I got enough on there that it sticks. It does shrink down, so it's not a big deal. Not trying to be super precise here. I'm eyeballing it. Give it a little bit more detail than just a small block of wood. So when that dries, I'll have a nice little battery box. I think I will try to find something I can use as a hinge. It would look nice. And then what I think I'm going to do for the tank is I'm actually going to cut little strips of this, then wrap it around and glue it like that. So I think I'm just going to maybe just take this piece and cut a couple of strips off of it. I don't know how these things would have been mounted on the big guys, but I can't imagine that it's much different than the air tanks on a steam locomotive, or I can't imagine that they were all done the same way. Plus, I don't think anybody's really going to notice. I mean, they'll notice the lack of detail, more than they will an incorrect detail, probably. So I'm just gonna glue it like this. I'm not even gonna worry about the back side too much. So just like that. And what am I gonna glue this with? Actually, what I'm gonna do, I've got the opportunity. Thinking about actually filing a little notch in here that it'll glue into, because the car side is going to glue in over the top. So, what's the width of my thing here? If I just I'm using the side of this file. It's got like most files, it's got an edge with teeth on it. This one's got a teeth on both sides. Some files, it's smooth on one or both sides. And I don't need to file in it much. And this is going to be covered by, and I'll show you how this is going to work. So this is going to be covered by, oh, wrong side, the embossed piece on here. So you're not going to see the edge of the strap. You see how this step goes in there. It looks pretty nice. Let's blow the sawdust off of there. Not perfect, but that'll do the trick. So I'm going to take this, and my glue's kind of dried up, put another little glob on my little cardboard glue palette, I guess you'd call it. I'm going to put a little bit in each one of these. And take this. I'm going to lay it right down in there. And take this one that I've already curled a little bit. I'm going to lay it right down in there. And I'm going to let these things dry just a minute before I glue them to the tank itself, because I don't want them to come loose. This is where the impatient modeler might reach for the old super glue. Believe me, I'm tempted. But my adventures with super glue the other day, I glued my fingers. Very easy to do. So that's gonna hold my tank on. Once they get dry a little bit, I'm gonna do this with them. Just gonna give it a minute. Oh, that's probably enough time. Put a little bit of glue on the back side of this. And maybe kind of hold it down with my finger while the glue sets up, I guess. Stuff's pretty tacky. I'm quite satisfied with this wood glue. The glue I like to use is Aleene's Tacky Glue. It's craft glue. That stuff, I mean, it's called tacky glue for a reason. It is basically like a white glue or a wood glue that's really sticky. So you don't have to hold it for very long. The glue itself sometimes it'll hold it while it dries. This stuff's kind of the same way. I'm just basically having to press this down and it's stuck. So there's my tank. I'll show you again how the side's gonna go. So next step, I'm gonna paint the floor, I think. So I'm gonna do the same as I did on the top, paint the floor black. Oh get the glue on that. So paint the floor, and then I'm going to figure out about the trucks. These things are going to be a little bit of a challenge. It says to glue a piece of cellophane, which came in the kit, very thin plastic, between these two halves. And this serves as your car side. The cellophane is very, very wrinkly. I mean, it's basically the stuff you wrap your sandwiches up with. So I'm going to find something different. I think I'm going to try and find like a transparency plastic, you know, the kind of stuff that you used to use for an overhead projector. So a little bit thicker, something that won't have wrinkles in it, but still thin enough to fit in between these pieces to serve as windows. I'll cut a strip. Then it says to laminate it. Laminate these two together to kind of form a car side. So I'm going to probably paint one side black, the other one green on that side, or whatever color I'm going to make the car, which will probably be green. I'm going to glue the piece of plastic in between, glue the two halves together, and then one of the last steps is I'm actually going to glue this onto the side of the car. And I will talk about the trucks here in just a second. These are the trucks that came with the car. Screwed this one up a little bit, so I had to epoxy it together, but it'll work just fine. Screws broke off as I was trying to reposition them and getting them tight. But the way this is supposed to work is that these screw directly into the floor. The problem I'm having is once I put them underneath the car, the coupler height it's too high, so I would need to shim the coupler box down. I'm also not too wild about the look of these trucks. They're kind of chunky looking. And I think having something that would be a little more delicate looking, maybe with even a little bit longer of a wheelbase, would look better. There are some options out there that would suit just fine. They'd probably roll better than these original Varney trucks. So my question is do I want to, you know, be faithful to the kit and build it as if I was building this in 1947, or do I want to, you know, buy some more modern trucks, or I could go and find some, you know, trucks that would have been available in the 1950s, other Varney trucks, or are there other manufacturers' trucks, which I might like the looks of more. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the bottom. I think I've got all the details that it calls for in the kit. I don't want to add too much else, although I could certainly use a few more details. But again, I want this to look like I actually built the kit according to the instructions.